Hello, I'm James Wilson.
And I'm Matthew Rowney.
Here on Who Addicts Reviews, we are going to be reviewing an episode that was truly an unearthly child version for the modern day.
Yes, this was requested to us by Brian Avengor. Today we are obviously going to be reviewing the modern day introduction to most fans, the first episode most of us ever seen. It's a privilege to review Rose.
So we are going to be now reviewing an episode that is definitely a blast from the past, not just for me and Matthew, but probably for you guys as well.
Yeah, this episode is most likely the first one most modern viewers had ever seen. It had the pressure on its shoulders of introducing Doctor Who to an entire new generation, grabbing an entire new audience, and this episode it couldn't flop, it had to succeed, and in my opinion, boy did it succeed.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was, I think, and you did point out while we were re-watching it to review it, you did say that in some aspects it was a lot like William Hartnell's performance as the Doctor for the very first time.
Considering we reviewed An Unearthly Child not so long ago, it did seem very similar.
Yeah.
It really did seem very similar.
And I think Russell T Davies was definitely aware of that while he was writing
it.
So yeah, it was a great introduction, despite my feelings that you guys probably know by now from my controversial video about how I feel about Rose Tyler. Despite that, this was a great introduction to our first ever companion. Which I did say in that video that I do respect the fact that she was the first companion that we'd ever seen. It was, I think, a great introduction from Rose. It made her come across as just a normal, ordinary girl.
She couldn't have been more normal, really.
Yeah, definitely. And she was, of course, as we had seen, disillusioned by her normal, boring life on Earth.
Yeah, she seemed pretty bored of it.
Yeah,
she had a normal job, a normal, kind of annoying, immature boyfriend. She seemed like she was fed up and ready for a change, but she was never going to be aware about the change that was to arrive on her doorstep, literally.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I just think that you could see it in her mannerisms and the way she was talking, that she was just fed up of everything. She just wanted someone to just whisk her off her feet, and someone definitely did in the Doctor, which was definitely, as we all know, the first words that we as modern viewers had ever heard this man say was "run."
Oh, yeah.
And straight from the get-go, straight from that very word, Christopher Eccleston had given a great performance as the Ninth Doctor. He was, in some aspects, like Matthew said, a lot like William Hartnell, talking down to planet Earth, very sarcastic and very, you know, like you could tell that he was an ancient being. And stuff like that. So it was definitely good, and that first scene with the Autons I felt was chilling, even now.
The music was great as well. It was such an intense scene when they were backing her up to the wall.
Yeah.
And you could tell someone was building and building and building. Let's run, and then bang. You know, the burst through the doors, and the music was pretty good, I will say.
Oh, yeah.
And then from then on, straight away, you could feel the energy that came from the Doctor, and you could tell the energy and how active he was, but also he was so witty and sarky to begin with. And that is exactly what made me think back to An Unearthly Child, because he was exactly like William Hartnell was, except a lot more physical, obviously.
Yeah, and like I said, I think Russell was very aware of that while writing it. He came across as very mysterious, but also had a very dry humour, you know, and he was definitely. I love how Christopher Eccleston was very aware of things that were, should I say, big in his body, you know. So he was pointing out that his ears were big when he was looking in the mirror.
That was funny.
And
he just kind of walked into where, like, Flatton was just picking up stuff, you know, picked up a magazine. That wouldn't work. He's gay and she's an alien. And then, you know, he had some cards, completely flicked the deck of cards all over his face, you know, reading books, bad ending, you know, just showing off.
I think that scene was unscripted. I don't know why, but while watching it, I just thought that is not a scene that some normal guy would just do scripted.
Yeah.
I think that Russell had let Christopher Eccleston actually do his own thing during that bit, you know, because some things you can't script, you know, and there are certain moments that are in television history that you can't script, and that felt like, to me, like Christopher Eccleston did that off the top of his own head. It was brilliant.
If it wasn't scripted, then that's just more credit to Christopher Eccleston for being just so brilliant in that scene, because he was hilarious, and he came across as kind of clumsy as well.
Yeah.
You know, even though he's this clever, intelligent, you know, a mystery, this impossible person, he's still dead clumsy and stupid.
Oh,
and when he had the plastic arm to his neck, he was like,
yeah.
And you know, she was just not noticing. It was great. I mean, I thought his first moment, you know, first impressions are everything.
Yeah.
He gave it brilliant.
Yeah, and they definitely had an instant connection. You know, they definitely had instant chemistry with each other.
There was that scene where I always remember where it's so simple, but it's like them walking out of the flat.
Yeah.
And walking around the streets, and it's the same camera, the same scene, and the camera's just backing away from them, watching them walk.
Yeah.
And that scene, for some reason, it's so simple, but their chemistry really shines.
Yeah, and honestly, that was the first time we ever actually got to know the Doctor. I mean, we still to this day don't know that much about the Doctor, but still, the first time we ever saw him, and it's like, you know, we all know that the companion is who we're seeing the Doctor in the eyes of. You know, if it wasn't for the companion, the Doctor would just be loitering around, and he'd just be like some boring man. But
you said it's the closest we're going to get to travelling with him.
Yeah, the companion is the closest we are going to get as to travelling with the Doctor, and I think that's what Stephen Moffat's missing in some of his companions.
Yeah, it was good actually. We just got to see Rose's life and the comparison between her normal life and all of a sudden, bang! You know, she's travelling with the Doctor against aliens, but with Amy and Clara, it was just like they were already mysterious. They were already kind of inside Doctor Who's alien, mysterious side.
Yeah.
Rose wasn't. She was just completely normal, ordinary.
And that's what
we could relate to her, which was also, I think, what was better about her than any of the other companions. That was what was better with Russell, basically. We could relate with Rose, we could relate with Martha, we could relate with Donna, but we can't really relate with Amy or Clara. That was the difference.
Yeah, definitely. And I personally think, can I just point this out, that Matthew will, I will let you have this. The actor who plays Clive.
He's from Middlesbrough.
Yes.
Probably the only successful person to come out of this town, but if you do recognise his accent, it's pretty similar to ours.
Yeah.
Except most people in Middlesbrough these days kind of speak like, oh, gives a pasty or some stupid thing like that. But yeah, he was a brilliant character. The way when Rose went to his house and he was describing the Doctor.
Yeah.
We'd just seen this clever, witty, funny side of the Doctor, and all of a sudden, he was this mysterious, dark, horrid person. They made him seem like the enemy.
I know, honestly, you really did. I mean, obviously, the first times we'd seen the Doctor, he came across as just some witty man that just got himself into trouble. What Clive said, the way the actor delivered the lines, it actually made us, for the first time in that episode, seem like he was an alien. That was the first time we'd actually thought, until Clive came into it. Before Clive came into the episode, we had just thought of this as some mysterious man who we didn't know, who was just looking for trouble and saved Rose's life. And, you know, we just known him as the Doctor. He was a mystery, and Clive was sort of like that landscape, and he really sort of, you know, built the Doctor for us for the very first time.
He brought across that the Doctor can time travel, because we've got to try and, as we do with every episode, we've got to try and imagine it from the point of view of the people watching it then. Like us when we were 9, you were 10. And back then, obviously, like you said, we would have thought he was anyone. But when he was like going through the scenes where he was like, that's him, the day JFK was assassinated, which was funnily just before Doctor Who had aired. And then it was him with a family the day before the Titanic.
Yeah.
You know, them little things just made you realise, hang on, this guy, he's not just any ordinary guy. And it just made the mystery of the Doctor ever so interesting. Exactly like what they did in An Unearthly Child.
And the brilliant thing is that Russell didn't spell it out for us. He didn't just treat us like children. Well, we were children at the time, but I'm just saying he didn't treat us like babies.
He didn't spoon feed us the
information. Russell wasn't just like, okay, this guy can time travel. He has a TARDIS.
Isn't it exactly like An Unearthly Child?
It is exactly like that. He didn't spell it out for us that this man can time travel. We worked that out on our own. Clive had showed us pictures of the Doctor throughout history, the same man. He showed us the mystery before giving us the actual resolution of that mystery, and I loved that, and Russell was to show that for the rest of the 4 years, and that's what I just loved about this episode, definitely.
The next thing was, Mickey turned into some plastic thing, and they went to a restaurant, and, you know, Mickey's head got pulled off, and they escaped in the TARDIS. Now, I remember a scene where Rose stepped into the TARDIS, and all you could see was her face.
Yeah.
And you could hear like the cloister bell, and it was just so mysterious, and it made the TARDIS almost seem scary. And she did the vintage companion reaction very well, and then you ran in and it just kind of schemed out to the TARDIS, and it just looked so, I don't know, it just looked so dark and run down, and like you said in your TARDIS Interiors video, it really did represent the Doctor very well.
It definitely did. The first time I saw the TARDIS, it was probably the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. Something that's bigger on the inside than the outside. I really did see what people were talking about in back in the 1960s, where they very first saw the TARDIS. They saw something that was physically impossible, something they'd never seen before. It grasped me straight away, and straight from then I was hooked, and just like that we became Who addicts, really.
Yeah, nice one.
Yeah.
And then they went to they found the transmitter, which was the London Eye, and that's when you pointed out that there was music that was kind of in at the wrong moment. It lost your interest.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't
didn't
just
lose your interest. It just lost the emotion.
No, I still watched it. I was still invested in the episode entirely, but it's just, to me, the music seemed a bit off. The same goes for the walking scene that you were talking about, the scene where they were walking out of the flat and seeing the streets and all that. The music in that, I felt was kind of wrong for the moment.
It was a ding 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 ding. It was just a bit,
yeah, honestly, that the music in that episode sort of didn't suit the moment.
Did Murray Gold write that? Because it didn't sound like Murray Gold.
Oh, Murray Gold, definitely. He'd written the music for the series throughout its entire run.
We'd let him off. It was his first day.
Yeah, definitely. So yes, but I think again that was just a nitpick. I do think that Murray Gold is a great composer, and I think we'll cut him some slack. It was he was writing Doctor Who. I mean, come on.
Then they went down. They went down to the nesting consciousness. The confrontation, I mean, could have been a bit more intense. I mean, it was not bad. It could have been more intense.
Oh yeah.
But when the Doctor referenced the Time War, that was nice. That once again, that made you kind of stop and think, what?
Yeah.
This episode, it kind of had these little lines what made you stop and think, hang on, what? Like, you had to rewind it and listen to it again. That's what it was like. And when he was like, it wasn't my fault, I couldn't save everyone. It was just one of them moments where you're like, hang on, what? What's he on about? And it made you get the impression that there was more to come. There's more to this man, more mystery. And there's forever more mystery about him every time we see him.
Oh yeah, honestly, the Doctor definitely had mystery in him the entire time. And so yeah, do you want to conclude, or is there anything you would like to say?
Well, Clive died afterwards, which highlighted the death that followed the Doctor. The way he was kind of warning Rose, and then he got killed himself, made me feel sorry for him.
Yeah,
I think
it did me a little bit.
And then there was the ending where Rose left Mickey, and he said that it could travel anywhere, and she said, "I'm staying." Then he left. Then he came back and said it travels in time, and then all of a sudden she kissed Mickey on the cheek and ran it in TARDIS. That was a bit like, oh. That's a bit sudden.
I know.
Couldn't it have been a few days later? He comes back for her. But it just seemed a bit sudden how she just kind of thought, boyfriend, screw you, kisses him, runs off. It was a bit too sudden.
And I really felt bad for Mickey. I mean, come on. Be perfectly honest. Mickey was kind of the sort of way we would react to the TARDIS. We would freak out, wouldn't we? Mickey was like stumbling about all over the place when he walked.
Hugging Rose's leg.
I know, honestly, he was like a dog just like holding on to Rose's leg. He was so scared. And we all say that we'd be fine in front of aliens and monsters. Would we fuck? We'd be scared out of our wits. We would seriously run and run and run. The Doctor runs into more trouble. Let's be honest, we would actually run to get our fucking way from the thing. So Mickey was kind of the embodiment of how we would actually react, which was good. But I just felt so bad for Mickey. Rose was an absolute bitch in that moment.
It would have been better if the Doctor came back for her.
Oh yeah.
But that was it. Conclusion, do you want to go first? I went first last time.
Oh yeah, yes, I shall go first. For our modern day version of An Unearthly Child, Russell did a perfect job of completely rebooting the show by making the Doctor more of a mystery than he ever was in the classic series. Great introduction from Rose Tyler, who came across as a normal and ordinary girl who was disillusioned by her everyday life. Chris Eccleston was perfect as the Doctor right from the word run. He exhibited mystery and dry humour to the role, and even spoke down to the human race at times, which did harken back to An Unearthly Child, as we have said. The only thing that let this episode down, even ever so slightly, was the music, as it was badly timed, but that in itself is a nitpick. The Autons were a menacing monster. Their silence and jerky walking made it scary for me to watch, not just when I was 10, but watching it now. As a whole, this episode was a great reboot to the series and showed that Russell T Davies truly was the godfather of New Who, or the Sidney Newman of New Who. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, interesting. Mine, Rose was a modern unearthly child, with the first 10 minutes introducing the companion first in a good way. It did well to highlight how normal and boring Rose's life was, which was used to a great comparison to life with the Doctor. The Doctor's introduction was fantastic, much like Hartnell's, but more physical, but he kept the same humour, wit and sarcasm he's always had. The episode also highlighted the darker side of the Doctor, making him seem dangerous, mysterious and kind of scary. The episode was almost like a tutorial into the world of Doctor Who, introducing things like the Doctor, the TARDIS, the concept and everything, but it kind of woven into the plot as well, which was good. The Autons, as you said, were good. They were a good springboard enemy, I think, for introducing and selling the show. That was the main priority. Despite the background music being in at the wrong times and Rose's rushed, harsh departure with the Doctor seemed a bit rushed and sudden, I think this episode sold itself brilliantly to a whole new generation, grabbing older fans back and new young fans with a brand new concept of television. As a 9-year-old child, I can see how I was intrigued and hooked by a show that in '63 changed TV forever. It was as close to perfect as you can get, and as much as it introduced me into the show, it wasn't perfect, so I'm going to be a critic. It's hard, but I'm giving it 9.5 out of 10.
I didn't know you could actually give that sort of score.
It's a number.
But yes, still it is definitely still a number. Have we got time for answering comments?
Yes, we will. We'll answer comments from our previous review.
Now we are going to be answering comments from our Empty Child and the Doctor Dances review. Ethan DJC, nice to hear from you. He says, one of the best two-parters in my opinion. This is also a really cool review as well. It makes my day watching these videos, and I'm always refreshing my YouTube for my iPad to see if you've made another video. Thanks for producing brilliant content. Well, that's another very flattering comment right there.
Flattering us lately, aren't they?
Yeah, honestly, and what you said about it being the best two-parter, possibly the scariest ever as well. But yes, thank you very much for that comment. Honestly, it makes our day as well to know that we're doing the right thing and that, you know, everyone does love our content. You know, I'm just so glad that everyone is loving what we do.
Yeah, it gives us a reason to keep on going and continue doing what we love. And as we did say in our recent video, which was our future, even though you may have gone back to school, Ethan, I'm so sorry if you have. Don't worry, because we've got so much more on the way.
Our second comment is from Ender Wizard Games.
Yes, sounds like a new subscriber.
Yeah,
I'm hoping you are. Thank you very much for getting in touch. He said, I love it when the Doctor in this episode says, just this once, everybody lives. The reason why you probably love that quote is because it was so rare in Russell's era that everyone did live, because recently, in Moffat's era, everyone always lives, and I'm frankly getting a bit sick of it.
Yeah, honestly, it's good to see a character die. I know that's bad to say, honestly.
It sounds so depressing.
I know it sounds depressing, but it shows the consequences of travelling with the Doctor, the fact that nice people die.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just evil characters that die. I know we love seeing evil characters die, but it's great to just see a character that we love get killed off, because it shows the consequences of the Doctor's life.
Yeah, in Series 5, the closest we got to actually someone dying was the Daleks getting threatened by a jammy Dodger. That says something.
Depressing, really.
Our third and final comment is from Owen Salmons, once again a brilliant subscriber. You've liked our Facebook, followed us on Twitter, and also gave us a shout out on one of your videos, so we are very, very grateful.
Yes, we are. And he says, I really enjoyed this episode. It is definitely one of Moffat's best. It's a shame that he doesn't write like this anymore. Question, as Clara went into the Doctor's time stream, wouldn't she have already seen 12? She might not be as shocked when he regenerates at Christmas. Just wondering, and want to know what your thoughts are on my theory. Well, about what you said about Moffat, you're right, he doesn't write as well as that anymore, but The Name of the Doctor was a surprisingly brilliant episode.
It had to be, didn't it?
Yeah, and about your theory, it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's exactly what I thought when watching the Doctor. I mean, you know, that time stream which they went into, that was his dead, well, presence. You know, that wasn't a body, that was his dead presence. And they went into that, so surely his entire past, present and future, past the 11th Doctor, will be in there. So when she said all 11 of your faces are here, then how can she only see 11 when we're clearly going to have a 12th, a 13th, and maybe beyond? So it doesn't make sense how she can say there's only 11 when there's clearly going to be more. I mean, Could she only see in that present moment, or did she miscount? Was her memory a bit?
Yeah, well, that's what I personally think. I mean, at the end of The Name of the Doctor, she did seem a bit out of sorts, so some of her memories might be a bit amiss. You know, some of the things that she saw in the Doctor's time stream, her memory might not have been able to comprehend. You know, so she might have skipped a few, like in a montage in a film. Some things you skip ahead. So you know, I think that Clara's mind was a little bit. I think we were only seeing what Clara could see and was able to see. So some things her mind might have skipped.
Yeah, like up to that present moment. And about what you said about her in the Christmas special with Pete Capaldi, she knows he can regenerate, so maybe she won't be shocked. If she did see future incarnations in the time stream, she won't be shocked at all. But it'll be interesting to see. Do you think she'll be shocked?
Well, like I said, it all depends what happens at the end of The Name of the Doctor. You know, when she walks out of the Doctor's time stream, was her memory missing? I don't know. Like I said, she was in a bad way when she left, so her memories might be completely missing from what she saw in the time stream. It's not impossible. In fact, it would be quite a valid point.
True.
So, you know, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, and Moffat did say that he'll be regenerating around familiar faces, so I don't think it'll be as much of a surprise.
So then, guys, I hope you have enjoyed once again another review, reviewing Rose. It was a great privilege to review this episode. So then, guys, you know the usual. Like the video, subscribe to our channel, and if you do, we will subscribe right back.
Yes, all the contact details you should know by now. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Tumblr or Twitter, add us on Google+. All links are on the bottom of the banner. Our next review will be Blink. I cannot wait for that.
Yes, it will definitely be a great episode to watch. I'm James Wilson.
I'm Matthew Rowney.
This has been Who Addicts Reviews.